I want to show you how to export from Microsoft Access to a text file. Now, you could be exporting from Microsoft Access to text, to Excel, to SQL Server, to Oracle. I just happen to be choosing a text file in this particular one. I'm also going to show you how to use the character map transformation. It's a very, very easy transformation, and I think you'll understand what it does very, very early on. Now, before I get started, we need to have somewhere to put the data. We need to have some data to work with. So I'm going to use Office 2007. I am not a fan at all of the new Access 2007 interface, so I'll stumble around it as little as I possibly can. I will show you how to get the sample database because we're going to just use the Northwind 2007 sample. You're seeing right here just the basic power, rather access interface. And you can see that I've recently opened the Northwind 2007.accdb. Now, if you're on Office 2003, Office 2000, it's going to look a little bit different. The Northwind database is installed as a sample database in the samples folder. Okay, but it's not in Office 2007. You actually have to go download it from the website. So it may look a little bit different for you. But the bottom line is you need the Northwind sample database if you want to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I chose to go with the sample because it's easier to use the sample than it is to show you how to create a database, how to create tables in Access 2007, because in 2007 it's so vastly different than 2003. So here's what we're going to do. If you load up Access 2007 and you go over here to the From Microsoft Online to sample, go to the Northwind 2007 and tell it to download it. And that's it. And then you can open it and play with it. If you aren't sure, if you don't see this, if you can't figure that part out, go to Microsoft Office's website, microsoft.com/office, and search for Northwind 2007. And then you'll download the Access 2007 version. Okay? So I already actually have it here. So I'm going to simply load up my database that I've worked with. And now that, oh golly, I despise this. So I've already done it. And now, let me close that out. God, it's just annoying that you can't open a file quickly. See, there's the open recent database. However, the fact that I went to sample, clicked on that, now completely wipes this away. And I can't get back to it without hitting cancel, and then I could do it. I know that I had to click cancel, but does the average user know that? Probably not. All right, anyhow, go download your Northwind. Okay? And go ahead and enable whatever content if you wish, and just shows you all the cool stuff that you can play with here. The 2007 version of the Northwind is updated to use more of the 2007 features, whatever. I don't care. What we want to do is show you how to export data from Microsoft Access to a text file, and in the interim to use the character map transformation. Sweet. Let's pick a table. Customers table. Not picking one of the views or stored queries or reports or any of that stuff. I'm just going to pick this customers table. Okay? And you can see company A, company B, company C. They got real creative with the names, but the company names were maybe left off there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We want to export this table out to a text file. Sweet. I'm going to close it out. Don't need this open any longer. And I'm going to open up the Visual Studio and create a new project. We'll call this, I'm going to name it Mistransforms 03. Oops, I thought I was typing there. It may not be the same. This will be attached to your video, so it's in the zip file. Whatever the file name of this video is will become the file name of this file. So I just happened to name it Mistransforms 03, but it may actually be a little different here. So give me a second. Fair enough. Okay. So we need a data flow task, and let that load up. And let's now go. Our source now is going to be, How do we know which data flow source to choose for Microsoft Access? It's not listed. There's Excel, which is not Access. It's going to be the OLEDB source. We talked about this in one of the earlier videos in the chapter that sort of took us on a breakdown of the different sources and when to use each. So you might want to review that, but we want to use the OLEDB source. So here we go. Double click on it. We need to make a new connection manager. So we'll make a new one. That was a holdover from a previous video. And now in the top, now we need to decide which one of these we want to use. Well, we are given the choice here between the Jet 4.0 and the Office 12. Okay, now see, you don't really get anything that says Microsoft Access here. So you need to know a little bit about working with Access as a data source. So here's this. This is for 2000, 2003. Okay, so the Jet 4.0 is for 2000 and 2003, and the Office 12 is going to be for 2007. Okay, so let's go ahead and use that one. So I choose Office 12. And when I do that, I need to give it the server or the file name. Thankfully, they don't give us a little browse button to make it easy. Thankfully, we have to type it in. Thank you, Microsoft. Which means I've got to remember where that is. And golly, I don't know. There it is. Okay. So copy and then paste. Oh, man. Dummy. Oh, dummy, dummy, dummy. So edit, and now I need to paste that in there. Okay. Do we have a specific user and password? No, we don't. You need to make sure that this works with your test connection, and so we're good. Okay, so cool. Let's go. We've got the data source now. So we need to assign the connection manager here, and we now can choose the tables or the views. So I know that I'm successful in wiring it up to the Access database when I get the list of objects. Obviously, the test connection succeeded too, but this shows me, looking at the icons here, these are tables. Okay, you see that little icon right there. And these are going to be stored queries / views. So we wanted to use the customers table, and then I preview that, and sure enough, that's pretty much what we wanted. It shows us the columns that it exports, and we're good to go. Now, if we need to change some data types, or if we would like to view the data types that SSIS has interpreted from Microsoft Access, we can go right-click on the source, give it a name, like MS Access, and we can take a look at the advanced editor. And we can go to the input and output properties and go to the output columns. And we can verify that the data types that SSIS has chosen match up with what we want to be. So is that really a 4-byte signed integer? Well, yeah. And is that a Unicode string? If it's not a Unicode string, go ahead and make it a non-Unicode string with DTSTR. Right, so it's our choice. How wide is that? How big do you want to make that? Do you want to make it 128, 256? Enter it here. Okay, this is where you have the choice to change the data types before you enter the rest of the data flow. Okay, well, we are wanting to show the character map. So I go to the transformations. Let's drag this guy on here. The output columns from MS Access are read then by the character map. So let's take the company name, and notice that we can do a change of the column. So you have two choices here with the character map transformation. You can add a new column to the data flow, or you can change the data as it moves through. So I'm going to make a new column, and the operations that I can choose deal with casing. We can reverse this. Or we can change some widths, deal with some languages, things that I don't even understand because I don't work with that type of data. Usually all I'm really caring here about is lowercase and uppercase. So we're going to uppercase this, and I'm going to make the new column be called company upper. And let's take the last name and let's do an in place change to make it lowercase. So it's still called last name in the output. We could change it. Let's do now the first name, an in place change, and I'll show you the byte reversal. And we won't make it the same name. We're just going to call this first name byte reversal. And what I want you to remember about first name is that we chose an in-place change. We did not add a new column to the output. Okay. Okay. Our data flow destination, we want to go to a flat file this time. So now I need to make a new file connection manager here. So I make a new connection manager. I want it to be delimited. And I'm just going to name my connection manager destination, give it a file name, and it will create this file name, customers.txt. Okay. Change it however you choose right there. Doesn't have to have any extension. Let's see, I want column names in the first data row. I want it delimited. I want the control line feed character to signify the end of a row. That means that a new line means that the row is ended. We'll define the columns based on the prior data flow. And here's what I want you to notice. Notice that the first name column is not even listed here. The only first name you get is the first name byte reversal. We did an in-place change, but we changed the name of the output column. So first name is not even a column that is a choice. Okay? The only column that we find is the first name byte reversal. And look that it's changed the integer to assigned integer here. Okay? Oh, that's int. That's the ID. It's still doing a Unicode string. I had it flipped over there. Okay. You could preview this if you need to. Nothing to preview. So I say, okay, we got to map these up. Maps up pretty successfully. Everything does that correctly. If you get into a situation where something doesn't exist or something is mapped incorrectly, you can click that and click the delete key. And you can see that you can ignore that, or you can just map it directly down at the bottom. And we get an error message here. So it says address is in text, which is not allowed. Okay. I'm going to have to delete the address column out of our flow here. I'm not really going to mention too much why at this point. The bottom line is that it's an unsupported data type for the text. I may have a couple of others. Web page as well. So web page. Anything that is a text data type at the source, the in text, it's not going to work. So probably notes, attachments, all are going to fail. And I can see what those are by, remember, I can see the source data types by going to the advanced editor of the source, looking at the input and output properties, looking at the output columns. So anything that has a data type of Unicode text stream that you see here is not going to work. So Unicode text string notes for web page, for address, those are not allowed to go to a text file. So I could load those to a SQL server, but I couldn't do it to a text file. So I'm ready to go. Let's just take a look over here on the C drive. And you see there is no customers.txt. We execute our package by hitting F5. We see we had an error message here. It wrote 0 rows. Let's see if we can figure out the problem. Data conversion failed. Data conversion for first name byte reversal said the text was truncated. Or one of the characters had no match in the target code page. I suspect it was more the text being truncated. So what happened? Let's go take a look at the advanced editor. I wasn't expecting it. I really did expect it to actually work. Apparently, there's some pretty big text in that. Go to the advanced editor. Take a look at the output column for the first name. Okay, notice that it has an input length of 50. Well, what happened when we did the byte reversal? Here's my guess. I really don't know. This is what I think has happened. I think that it was beyond 50 characters. So I think that SSIS tried to do the byte reversal, but it couldn't fit them into 50 characters, and therefore the text had been truncated, and we received an error message. So why don't we widen that? Let's make it now 128 characters, and then we should be able to continue on and go through. Now it did create our customers.txt, but you can see it stopped once it got to the first name byte reversal and had a truncation error. That's my guess. Now it could be a code page issue. It could be that it has chosen in the byte reversal to do Chinese characters and our code page doesn't support those. So let's see. Oh, okay, so now I don't think it's a truncation issue. The data conversion has failed, and it says text was truncated or one or more characters had no match in the target code page. So I don't think it's the truncation issue anymore. I think now the code page is what's wrong. Okay? So what's going down with this character map? Trying to think if I could show you this. If I was mapping this out to a SQL server, we would see this. I know. Let's add a data viewer in here. Let's see if I can get it in a data viewer. If you don't know what a data viewer is, all you do is right click there, data viewer. Just let me delete mine actually and show you what it looks like. A data viewer, we've covered this many times so far in the course, but if you're just jumping in right here, you just right click, data viewers, add, grid, okay. And it's just going to pop up and show us what the data looks like. So you can actually see what the byte reversal has done to those characters. It's now not seeing those the way that they were typed in. It's reversed the bytes, and now they're showing what appear to me to be, I don't know, I think that would be Chinese characters. I really don't know. And what our code page error is saying is that you can't write those particular characters to that particular text file. You said that that was an ANSI text file. Nope, can't write it, excuse me. You can't write it to that text file. You have got to choose a different code page. And really, I'm not going to be able to do that here. So the byte reversal is just not really going to work for us here. But at least the data viewer showed us how crazy that looked, right? You're not going to be using that very often, I don't think. Of course, it failed. So I guess what I'm going to have to do to make this work is to go down here and ignore my first name byte reversal. The key things I wanted to show you is that we did an in-place change and we changed the name of the output column. And you got to see with the data viewer how it worked. So let's delete that. Run this now. Data viewer pops up. Let's kill the data viewer and we get green on the destination. And you can see that it wrote 29 rows. And so let's see. Let's take a look here at what we asked it to do. We asked it to lowercase all of our last names. Didn't we ask it to uppercase the company names? Okay, so this was the company column, but then we added a new column to the output. Scroll over. We added it, and it was the company upper. So it was basically a copy, and so sure enough, you can see it has done that at the end.